No, never. What's up, everybody? We are tonight's entertainment. This is the Put in the Book show presented by popculturepros.com. I am Steve, as always. I have my good buddy, Keith.
What up?
To my left, I got Rodriguez right down here with the beautiful scenery in the background.
Howdy, people. Brooklyn, yo, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. We have producer Joe behind the imaginary glass in his own home because we're still social distancing here on the Put in the Book show.
Put in the Book show.
Without further ado, as we typically do here, we send it over to Keith in the Mets clubhouse to discuss Brooklyn Water Coffee Roasters.
.com, brought to you from BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com. This segment, every segment, and all the segments in between that are brought to you by www.BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com. From their roastery to your front door. Only the finest beans. I like to say herbs. For some reason, I always want to say beans and herbs. But the finest beans are selected, hand-selected, for your enjoyment.
Do you mean Franken beans?
Franken beans.
Beans and
www.BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com. Actually, all kidding aside, BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com is some of the most delicious coffee I've ever tasted.
It's very good.
When they say they do pick the finest beans and they flavor them, they're not lying. There's a ton of delicious flavors out there. One of them is dark roast dark chocolate. It's a rich chocolatey flavored coffee. It is so delicious. And even though it's chocolate, right? You think, oh, it's a chocolate coffee. It's got to be. How do they have this on my face?
Oh boy!
What are you doing?
That's a situation.
Yeah, that is a situation. Whoa! I think it's from this.
What'd you pull that out of?
Oh,
we were doing antics before the show. Dark roast dark chocolate, one of the most delicious coffees out there. Not my personal favorite, but I have tried it and it is delicious.
I like that new word. Flavor it.
Flavor it. Like that?
That's good.
Yeah.
Word of the day. Word of the day.
PWI TV show.
And truthfully, like you think like dark roast dark chocolate, it's got to be packed with calories and really bad for you. But the truth really is, Frachi will tell you, the amount of calories in a cup of dark roast dark chocolate is
absolutely settled.
Boom.
Nice.
Then there's also Winter Wonderland, which is one of my favorites. And if you don't see certain favorites on the site that you have, excuse me, I'm talking. Thanks.
Singing.
If you don't see some of the flavors that you've ordered in the past and they are a favorite of yours, go ahead and email BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com. You'll find their contact information on the website. They may still have that flavor. It doesn't mean it's not available, and it should not deter you from ordering their coffee. One of the other flavors is one part of their high energy caffeine line, which is Cinnabuzz, one of my most favorite also. Then there's also Jacked Up Cupcake, which is a rich vanilla flavored cupcake coffee. It has 50% more caffeine per cup. And vanilla cupcake, it's got to be loaded with calories, right, Frachi? What is the calorie count in that one? 57 calories per cup.
Zero, the same number of hits that Johan Santana gave up some time ago.
Boom! I love the tie-in right there. And also, Jacked Up Cupcake is what we like to call our friend Rodriguez. Jacked Up Cupcake.
Where are you? Once upon a time.
Then there's also, and if you're not into flavors, there's also some medium roast coffee. There's regular roasted coffee without flavor infusion. You go on the website www.BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com. Guaranteed to find the flavor you like, whether it be added flavor or just regular coffee flavor. Either way, it is delicious coffee. Get it now. www.BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com. From their roastery to your front door, guaranteed to ship within 24 hours of its roast date, meaning they'll make the coffee now. Within the next 24 hours, it ships out to you.
It's out there, baby.
Yep. And if you act now, mask on, capital letters, you will get your third bag free, but you need to buy two. So don't be cheap. Get two.
Remember, Keith, we have a new code. Remember that.
No, I can't remember. We did mask on for like 6 months. You changed it in 1 week. You expect me to be a genius.
Well, is the producer going to be able to pop that up? Code. There
Pop
we go.
Culture Pros.
I love having a producer back.
Pop Culture Pros. So if you go on there, excuse me, let me rephrase that. You go to 2 bags, then use the code Pop Culture Pros. You will get your 3rd bag free on us. Pop
Can you spell that?
POPCULTRUREPROS. Pop Culture Pros. I can spell it, but I can't so much say it. Pop Culture Pros. And if you're not already following us on Pop Culture Pros, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, your sister's ass.
Yes.
Where else?
And if you find us in your sister's ass, there's a lot of things going on there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a problem. You know, it becomes a situation at that point.
As long as not like rolled up toilet paper balls and stuff like that, yeah, we're good. PopCulturePros.com, www.watercoffeeroasters.com. From the roaster to your front door, guaranteed to ship in 24 hours with the road day.
All right, so look, fellas, we've been off the air for 2 months, fellas. So we got a lot of catching up to do. Let's start, just real quick around what's been going on. 2 months, no Mets related talk. What's been going on, Keith? How's life?
Are you asking me not to speak about the Mets?
Yes. Joe's here and Joe's gone now.
The Giants have been great.
I think he just woke up.
I'm excited with the Giants' progress. Life has been good. Still dealing with this COVID-19 thing. Obviously, there's a lot of political turmoil. We won't get into that because we love all of you right now. We use the views.
Right now, he said it.
All right, we can use the views. So let's just keep it there. I think that I've been doing well. Thank God.
Thanks something. Rodriguez, what about you?
Thank God.
Don't get started on that, all right? Not with the thank something and then this guy with the thank God.
Do you want Farachi and I to post our God talk from the chat online?
No, I don't want to hear it. No, God. It's bad enough I have to see it every once in a while and hear a ding about it. But hey, listen, I think we're all doing good. We're all here. We're all healthy. We're all talking about the Mets. So far, even though the pandemic has been a definite, thorn in our sides in everyday life and everything else, I can say I think I'm doing okay. My family's okay. No one has been gravely ill.
Thank God.
Let's just count our blessings. See that, Farachi? I didn't say nothing about you hating God or you loving God. Let's count our good fortune and move it along.
It's a good point. Families.
Let's talk about the Mets. Douche.
Yeah, we don't care about Farachi.
That's fine.
I don't want to hear about Timmy. I know he's fine. I've seen him like every week.
Timmy, what's up, buddy? He had Timmy a little faith in us to get on the air because we've had a couple of cancellations the last couple of weeks. So
what does that mean?
We are here.
Holy S and dollar T. What does that mean again?
All right, so yeah, same as you guys. No major health issues, so
Thank
we're
God.
all good here. Getting ready for thank Joe Pesci. Getting ready for the holidays, but Turkey Day tomorrow. So let's get to it. So we'll get into our what we had thought was going to happen, and then the reality of what happened for the whole league and for players on the Mets. But before we get to that, obviously, let's lead in with a couple of news items. Number one, we no longer have to talk about the Mets ownership situation because the ownership situation is Uncle Steve, baby. Finito, done. No other competition out there. Steve the Gap Cohen, as you see right behind Keith there. So look, this is the guy who we wanted from the get-go, right? And oh boy. And then last year, you started hearing other people trying to get involved, namely Alex Rodriguez, who you had Steve Cohen here, just, kind of waltz in, I got the money, just let me know. And then you had A-Rod getting all his buddies involved, trying to get $10 million here, $20 million there. It just wasn't going to happen, and
Crook.
you know, rumor
Beef.
has it. Rodriguez
Cheap.
taught me a new superpower. Rumor has it that A-Rod was never going to get approved anyway. So it works out for
Nope.
the best. Steve Cohen and his $16 billion waltzes right in, drops the money on the table, and now we sit back and we wait. But obviously, the fan base is excited. Now these bitter Met fans from yesteryear, who we're never going to go after this and that, now they're puffing out their chests saying, I'd be surprised if they don't get 3 of the top 4 free agents.
Yeah,
So
now we're gonna
one
get
extreme to
everybody.
the other. So
Oh,
your thoughts, gentlemen, on that?
I guess I can jump in real quick. I
Extreme,
first of all,
I normally-
extreme Met fan talk. Go ahead.
yeah, I just don't want the silence to go too long. So I guess the quick question I have, and you can answer after I'm done, is what rumor was that they weren't going to approve? The owners weren't going to approve them.
A-Rod, yeah.
Okay, so
That he wasn't going to have the votes.
I think the first thing is first, he has the championship gap, a la Strahan.
Yes.
Number 2, the guy is very
Championship
relatable. It's a lot of talk right now. Nothing has happened. There's a lot of work to be done. So nothing has happened. It's not a criticism. It's just what it is. Nothing has happened yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done. We're establishing things such as the front office staff. We just learned, and we'll get into that later, that there's not going to be a president of operations or a VP of operations right now. They're just looking for a GM. Sandy's going to assume the rest. There's theories behind that. I'm looking forward to it. Whether we sign 3 of the 4 top free agents, I don't know. I also don't want Steve Cohen, and I don't think he will, based on his outside of baseball business experience. I don't want him to be foolish and just like dump cash on stupid things just to appease fans, which he's not going to do. But I would expect at this point that we would get 1 or 2 of the top free agents out there. Top 4 free agents being, what is it right now? Correct me if I'm wrong, Farachi, Bauer, Real Muto. Oh my God!
Well, and then you got the trade target. They included the trade target.
Lindor. They included Lindor, right? I don't expect the trade targets to be a big thing for us right now.
DJ LeMahieu.
LeMahieu is a free agent also, so that may be a possibility. But he's going to want long term. And the facts of the matter is, we're still handcuffed to Cano, and he is coming back, even though he's not here this year. We're going to spend his money. He will be here next year. Where does he go? We can't really necessarily sign somebody long term unless they have another vision in mind. But I do expect to see Bauer and Real Muto the Mets being a serious contender for them. I don't expect them to get ripped off, but I don't expect them to cheap out a la Wilpon either. Right. It'll be interesting to see.
Right. And Rodriguez, you Keith, and I, and producer Joe, we were talking about it the other day in the chat. Just to be in the conversation, like the baseball world is buzzing New York Mets right now, and that has not happened in a long time. I came across a video that I did a couple years back saying that the San Diego Padres were in on Bryce Harper and those big free agents, and we weren't. Times are changing, right?
Times have totally changed, man. We have the richest owner in baseball, or none. We have the most money. We're a big dog now. We're in there. We're not going to cheap out because of Madoff or whatever other nonsense happened to us in the past. We have the money to get whoever we want. Now, for every Met fan that's a fanatic and that's nuts out of their mind, yeah, they're gonna want everybody. It doesn't matter if they fit, if they don't fit. It doesn't matter. Square egg, peg, round hole, whatever. They're gonna want everybody because we have the money. However, we do have needs, and if it's a good organization, as we want to be, as Sandy professes to be, as Cohen wants to have, we want to measure up with the Dodgers. We want to measure up with the Yankees. Sorry to say their name the right way, but they do have a history of winning, and they have won. And we want to be that type of team, which we can be by being smart in what we get. We do need a catcher. Real Muto, perfect fit. Does he want to be a Met? Who knows? I don't want anyone to be a Met who doesn't want to be a Met. Don't come for the money. because you can get money with any other place. You got to want to play for the city of New York and understand the trials and tribulations that come with being a player for a New York team. It's not easy. It's not like living in Kansas and getting up every morning and no one comes to your outfield practices. In New York, there's like 30 reporters there just sitting there watching you, hoping you drop a ball just for fun. You know, these are the type of players that we need to get. Like Bauer might be too temperamental for New York. He may be the guy that, you know, you say to yourself, oh, he's a loose cannon. He can't take it. He can't take the pressure. Or he might be the guy that comes in and just runs the place, rules the roost, and becomes a team captain and beloved. He could be that guy. You know, somebody like a Springer. He's from Connecticut. He has a northeastern type of mentality. You would assume he's a good fit. You know, Real Muto, if you don't want to come here, don't be here. Bauer, we know you want to come here. You're just waiting for the bucks. Springer, you could come here for a couple of years and make a lot of money and probably win a championship or two. However, before we get those guys, I'm still on the pitching bandwagon. I need 3 pitchers, a catcher, and then we'll worry about offense. That's my take on this whole thing. And I'm as fanatic a fan as they come, but I want to use our money wisely, build the future, don't trade away all our pieces. Don't go crazy, guys. That's all I'm saying. Right?
Yeah. Well, they said in the interviews too. And then what I mean by the interviews is the initial announcement with Cohen and Sandy Alderson. One of their main focuses, right, to your point, Rodriguez, is building our farm system. And he made it a focus several times that our farm system is really not looking too sharp, is really not too deep. So I don't see us getting somebody like Lindor. I don't see us going out there and doing trades. I see us hitting more the free agent market.
Who said the farm system was bad?
Sandy Allison really
did he
hit
say
on
that
more.
Because the farm system is I think in 20th in as far as being the one of the best
his liking. He made direct comments. I don't know what the comments were, but he made direct comments and he wants to build up that farm system.
20 out of 30. Yeah.
20 out of 30. So it's not great, you know.
So based off of those comments, I don't see them unless somebody like an Arenado is in question, because obviously, and I mentioned this in our chat, an Arenado, and I'm probably jumping ahead, but that's like a Piazzian type of trade. But I don't see them outside of something huge like that, spending our talent, our young talent, to get some trade from Lindor or.
We have a lot of bats coming up in the minor leagues. A lot of it.
We do.
A lot of big third base power bats. A lot of infield bats. Some good defense up in the outfield, and some promising players offensively.
Lindor is huge, but I mean, like, what does he really add to the team that we didn't already have? We need pitching. We need bullpen. We need a catcher. I would love Lindor, no doubt, but is that our focus? Where's our priorities going? To me, Lindor is not number one. What do you think, Faraj?
No, absolutely not our number one priority. But you know, like I was saying, we got to see how the market unfolds, because there and this is a completely you know the whole landscape of free agency and stuff has changed over the last 5 years or so. When you know the offers that you have to give to them and possibly get a pick back in return. And, you know, we've seen more and more guys signing in March than
late signings,
typically early, right? A lot of late signings. Mm-hmm. So typically all the dominoes start falling as the winter meetings approach. So when we were talking the other day about, I would absolutely love to have Lindor. And even if, you know, to me, it's the same as, you know, if you got to give up those prospects for Arenado and have his control for 6 years, for me, it's the same thing as if you have to give up talent and then only if you extend Lindor. That's the only caveat to that. I don't want to rental. You have to. That has to be part of the negotiation. So the trade gets complete if and only when Lindor signs an extension,
which they've done before.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. For sure. So. Yes, our priority is pitching and catching, obviously. Those are our absolute priorities. But if those don't start developing because the top dog isn't being signed, and that's what's going to happen. So JT Realmuto is the top dog. You'll see maybe one of the other catchers signed before him, but otherwise everybody's waiting for that. Because if you got 10 teams involved in the chase for Realmuto, and I'm
Is
going high there,
Grandal
it's
a
probably the
free
best.
agent this year, or did they sign him long term?
No, I think that was a 3-year
Signed.
deal with the White Sox.
Okay.
So as you see that kind of stuff, kind of happen, you won't see a lot of mid-level pitchers sign until Bauer hits, and then you get the trickle down effect. You won't
Morton
see
signed.
Morton sign, but I'm talking like real, like the big name, big players that are getting big contracts. So
It's funny,
you
right?
might get-
Real quick, Morton
Yeah.
rejected a 15-year qualifying offer.
15-year, huh?
Wow.
15-year, $15
That's a
million
hell of
So Bobby
qualifying
Bonilla
offer.
rejection.
1 year, $15 million qualifying offer, but picked up the same from
right.
Atlanta. So he's a pitcher that wants to win.
Yeah.
That's not
But he's
necessarily
coming-
an insult, but he wants to go to a team that's going to win. And it's the Braves. But the Braves have talent.
So he shouldn't have gone to the
speaks-
Braves. They're in the Mets division.
It speaks for his pedigree. What I'm saying is, we need those kind of players, those players who are hungry for a win, and show Morton that he really picked the wrong team. You big loser,
Yeah.
jerk.
No, he picked the right team. He's going to get roughed
Right.
up. He's going to beat up. So yeah, and then you kind of now the Rays are making their one of their top starters available. Via trade. He signed. That's going to be an arm and a leg and a testicle or two to get him. So now do the Rays waiting for Bauer to sign? So now Bauer's off the market. Now their trade bait is the big guy on the market. Now that might hold up other free agents. It's going to be very cyclical throughout the entire offseason of dominoes starting to fall.
It's going to be what?
Cyclical.
Oh.
Very nice.
Put on the board, Joe.
I think honestly that it would behoove the Rays to get a trade done before Bauer signs, because Bauer, you're looking at competition. They want to trade Snee to a team that has a need, and they want to beat Bauer to the punch, right? So if they can do something appealing to the Mets, where we are okay with what we're giving up and we get Snee in, maybe we won't go get Trevor Bauer, and maybe we'll dump money into Springer and Realmuto instead. Who knows, right? And then there's the other side of that coin, like you were saying, where if Bauer signs, now they kind of know who their trade market is and who's going to be looking for Snee. But Snee's a left-hander. He's locked up for a couple of years. I think at like $10 million a year, something like that. He, to me, is the most attractive, more attractive than Bauer. But what is the cost?
Yeah, the cost is going to be huge.
Yeah.
The Facebook user, we're in the. I think that's my mom. I sent her searching for turkey legs, and then we started without her. She said, "You got to authorize the app." So up above whatever group that you're watching in right now, which includes MetZone, Steve, my namesake, our namesake, Rodriguez, MetZone. If you're not part of that group, hey, look, the internet's big enough for all of us, so go ahead and join there too. But yeah, wherever you're watching on a group, go ahead and click the StreamYard link and authorize the app, and then we can see who you are.
And for all you out there who are really insecure and really block us from posting on your page, get over it.
Stupid.
Like Steve said, there's enough internet for all of us. Your insecurities are unwarranted. Get over it. You can post on our page. We'll post on yours. Have a nice day.
Yeah, so the last thing I'm going to say about the free agency and the draft stuff is that the competition will really heat up. So let's say there's 4 teams out there that are going after Bauer, and let's say it's the Mets, the Dodgers, and just for ease, the Yankees and the Red Sox. Let's say those 4 teams are after Bauer. He signs with the Mets, of course, because he wants the best chance at winning. Now,
you think the Red Sox are going to sign anybody this year?
No.
Okay.
I said just for the ease of the exercise.
Okay.
So
okay.
now it's down to the Dodgers, Yankees, and Red Sox, and now one team is going to overpay for Tampa for their star, because now they're going to be We lost out on our big fish. We better go get this guy. So yeah, that's it's gonna be up and down. It's gonna be a nerve-wracking offseason. Now this will be the first nerve-wracking offseason for a long time. For the very first time in a while, because we never thought that we were signing anybody. So this year we're gonna hear, oh, the Mets are offering 4 years. Oh, the Dodgers are offering this guy 5 years. We need to up the offer, and so on. So it'll be a fun off season to say the least there. Next up, this is a brief conversation. Robinson Cano, Jackass of the Year award, gets caught with the PEDs once again, and I would have to say 96% of the fan base is happy with this, because you don't have to have him clogging anything up there. You get the money, which it's $24 million minus the $3 million, so we're saving $21 million on him. Seattle is happy because they get to save $3 million. And then we can move people around a little bit easier. Rodriguez, does the loss of Cano hurt us in any way?
Hurts baseball. It hurts his chance to be a Hall of Famer. It's gone now. Mm-hmm. Definitely gone now. He still had a shot even after the last PED thing, but it's done now. So Cano, you gotta go. Here's the thing too, Cano. Probably next year you're not going to be wanted on the team. There's got to be if we do have enough money to buy you out. Now it's a ridiculous thing to do, but we do have enough money to buy you out, and there are creative ways to get rid of you. So I'm really hoping and expecting the Mets not to bring Cano back next year. Find a way to get him on another team. Pay him off, or even do a Bobby Bo thing. Whatever it is you got to do, the guy shouldn't come back. That being said,
do Robbie Cano Day every year.
Do it. Just combine them together. Bobby Cano, Bobby don't know. Both you guys suck. We hate you. Whatever day you want to make it. But now we can move things around. The team really, really opens up more, because you don't have that albatross of getting Cano his at-bats, because he was still productive, and now we know why. And having him play some infield. We can actually, if you want to be a progressive team, you want to start the rookie, put the rookie at second, start him off for the year. Let's see what you got. You got plenty. You should have plenty of offense to offset that rookie. Even though he's a pretty good offensive rookie, he's like almost a 300 hitter, I think. I'm expecting him to be in a regular day-to-day role. He's still a rookie, but as an everyday player, he should be a great fielder. He already is, and a 300 hitter.
One question for you, Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. Do you think this negatively impacts Almeda Rosario?
Are you kidding me? It helps him. Are you
no,
kidding?
Well, I'm talking from the mentor-mentee relationship that they seem to have. What do you think about that?
Here's that, though. I think there's plenty of people on the team that can mentor Rosario if he needs to, or that he can pal around with, that are going to be acceptable mentors. Like a Conforto, who's 2 or 3 years older than Rosario and has gone through his ups and downs in New York. Not much, not really hard up and downs, but he's gone through a few. You have there's guys on the team that can mentor him. As far as that thing, you notice how people started talking. He took all his Met stuff off his Twitter handle or something like that, whatever.
Yeah.
I was reading that happened about 1.5 years ago or something like that.
Or months ago, something like that.
So some nonsense like that. But a young guy, I think he just turned 25 yesterday, as a matter of fact. A 25-year-old infielder we want to get rid of like so badly. I don't understand this fandom, considering he's improved every year. And last year, you can't count anybody's stats last year. I don't know why everybody thinks his rookie is so great after last year. He performed okay. He did okay. But a full year in the majors is what tells you what you are, not this 60-game season. So, at the end of the day, it's pretty nonsensical to me to give the starting shortstop to a guy who played 60 games when you have a guy who's played two seasons already and is projecting as a fairly good offensive shortstop. So I don't know. I'm glad Cano's gone. He saves us a ton of money and he opens up the infield. We have so many possibilities. I can't even get into it in this session, but I'm glad it happened.
Yeah, definitely something that we'll talk about as the weeks go on in our
Mm-hmm.
off-season shows.
Mm-hmm.
Keith, I don't know if you're on mute. Might be on mute.
I was talking to
Okay.
myself, and I was hoping you didn't hear me. And I'm glad you didn't, because I was telling you how wonderful and beautiful you are. Can I chime in on that Cano situation real quick?
Yeah, I was going to toss it to you now.
So,
But you were
like,
on mute, so you
obviously,
weren't talking.
once I heard that he was suspended for the whole year, I was pretty happy about it. But then I started really kind of thinking about it deeper, and I'm not sure how happy I am about it, and I'll tell you why. And I'm going to give you some stats real quick and jump into my next topic. I'm going to tell you about 2 years before his PD suspension for the half a year. And I'm going to go into 2016-17. I'm going to give you his games played, his home runs, and his batting average. I'll keep it simple. We're going to go back to 2016, 161. 39.
What year? I'm sorry. What year did he initially? That first time did he get suspended?
2018.
Okay.
So 2 years before that would be 2016. I'm glad you can't do math. 2 and 2. There you go. 16, 17, 18. 2.
Carry the 3.
2016. He played 161 games at the age of 33. He had 39 home runs. He batted 298. 2018. 17. 150 games. He had 23 home runs and batted 280. Then his PD suspension, 80 games. We won't really go there. 2019 Mets, the year after his PD suspension, 107 games. Big drop off from 161 and 150. And note on that, it is the least amount of games he's played in a single year in his whole entire career. If you can take a hint from that. He had 13 home runs and batted 256. Then all of a sudden, 2020, he played 49 games. It was only a 60-game season, so we'll give him that. But he hit 10 home runs and batted 316. So it looked like he was coming back. I was hopeful, okay, well, we're stuck with this guy for another 3 years. It looks like he's going to come back. It looks like it wasn't a PD thing. It looks like he actually has some sustaining talent. Boom! Come to find out, those 49 games, he was jacked up. Great. We're losing him for a year, $20 million, plus the $4 million we get from Seattle. We can put back into the team, but then he's going to come back, and I can guarantee you, unless he's really that stupid, because this was a stupid move. Let's be quite frank about that. It was just straight dumb. He's going to come back and blow $40-something million and do PD again, I hope, lifetime ban, or he's just going to ride it out. He's going to suck up a roster spot, or we're going to have to DFA him and pay another team to play him. Yep. I see a lot of great negatives beyond next year. Good positive next year, but what does that mean? We can't sign Cano's out, DJ LeMahieu. LeMahieu is going to want 4 or 5 years. Then what do we do with Cano after that? DFA him, pay LeMahieu, and then suck up the $47 million for the next 2 years? We got money coming to us, but I'm pretty sure Steve Cohen's not going to agree to paying some guy to play for another team that picks him up and then sign a contract with LeMahieu. So I'm not sure how positive it is or is not. I'm hoping that we go ahead and determine that we are able to sustain beyond him, but I'm not quite sure. In terms of trading Rosario, I would love to be able to trade him for something special. But to Rodriguez's point, also I agree we should not be giving up on Rosario. Rosario is a huge talent. Giving up on Rosario would be probably one of the biggest mistakes we will make, unless we get a huge talent for him. If we trade him from Lindor and get an extension, yeah, of course. But Rosario, yes, he had a little bit of an off year, but last year was an off year in general. You can't judge these players on their performance last year if they fell off. You just can't. People are down on Pete, down on Rosario. Listen, it was a strange, crazy year. They were all out of routine. They went to spring training, pulled from spring training, put back into their own programs, and then thrown back into a season that was 60 games long. It's different, okay? And sometimes not everybody takes to that adverse situation well. So I believe still in Rosario. I think we should keep him unless you're getting a Lindor with an extended contract. Everybody's bitching about Pete. Shut up. And Cano, I hope he does PEDs again and we get a lifetime ban.
All right. So, well, yeah. I mean, I agree with that the rookie shouldn't take over as the starting shortstop now. Because, like you both said, shortened season, and you know what? Maybe Rosario doesn't get benched last year in a normal season because you got time. They made the move because he wasn't hitting. He wasn't necessarily fielding very well either. And in a 60-game season, you have that larger sense of urgency. So yeah, you might get replaced a little bit soon.
Can I just jump in real quick and say, in the 3 seasons, 2017, 2018, and 2019. Gradually and incrementally, he has showed nice improvement.
Oh, for sure.
Boom, we got COVID year. He drops off a little bit. Not tremendously, but a little bit he drops off. And you're going to hold that against him? A 25-year-old kid who has been on the rise for 3 straight years and then was thrown with some adverse situation? Come on, stop it. Met fans, stop it.
All right, let's move on to our predictions from the beginning of the season. We're going to go through the league predictions real quick, and then we'll get to the player predictions, and that'll be some fun. There's some that we came real close to, and some that we were way off on. So that'll be fun. All right, so we'll start in the American League. The actuals, obviously, the Rays stepped up. Keith, you nailed that one. We'll go through what we nailed right, and if we're way off, I'll jump that. Not exactly what we nailed because that's TMI maybe. All right, and then the Twins won the American League Central. I had the Twins. Okay. Keith had the Twins. Joe had the Twins. Rodriguez had the Indians. And obviously they were a wild card team. And we never got back to update with the additional 17 wildcard teams per league. So take that into account also. American League West, all of us chose wrong. Me, Keith, and Joe all chose the Astros. Rodriguez went with the Angels, and it was the Athletics, the A's, who came in and won that division.
As they always do.
The Yankees, Blue Jays, White Sox, Indians, and Astros rounded out the wild card. And then in the National League, Joe and I had it right with the Braves, unfortunately. Keith, you had the Mets. Rodriguez, you had the Nats. For the Central, we all got it wrong. The Cubs made us wrong again, all of us. We chose the Reds, me and Joe, and the Cardinals. Keith and Rodriguez went with the Cardinals there. Dodgers, who else was going to win that division? Right?
It wasn't a hard pick.
So that was an easy one. Wild card teams were absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe I have to say this, but the Marlins were a wild card team in 2020. But now that you look back at it, what else? Should we have not expected the Marlins to make the playoffs in the year 2020? The craziest of shit that is going on. The Marlins have to make the playoffs.
Besides that. The only I think president of operations or general manager that Sandy Allison was allowed to talk to was Mike Hill from the
Marlins. Yes, you're right. I saw that. I was reading that today or yesterday, Rodriguez. And I was
unbelievable.
No wonder why we just said screw it.
Let's move on.
He might have just said screw it, but guess what? The Marlins were in the playoffs, and we won.
And you know what? I don't think he's done. Don Mattingly won the Manager of the Year award. I don't think that GM manager team has done a bad job at all. Look at what they've had to deal with. We complain about not spending. Imagine.
They have no money, and they have a squad coming up soon. You'll see.
Right? Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying. I don't think it was such a fluke. They do have some really young talent. I think in a full year, probably not the same results, but they have so much young talent. That in a 60-game season, their youth kind of kicked everybody's ass.
And I think one thing that they have to, in a weird way, be thankful for this Thanksgiving is the COVID situation. So they were the first to have a COVID issue, and as we watched, at least the Mets, and there's another handful of teams out there, they had to use like 18 different starting pitchers, which you'll get the rookie pitcher that comes up and just get blasted, but to a number of different teams, including the New York Mets, that is kryptonite. A rookie pitcher comes up and, right, Keith, he no hits us for 6 innings, and you got a shot at the top of your lungs in Marlins Park to echo around the stadium. You're throwing a no hitter. So that I think that kind of played a little bit, but kudos to the Marlins, getting in.
Although that day was a lot of fun, may I say, and I'm sure you all agree. I hope we never have to experience that kind of atmosphere again. Yeah,
no, for sure. All right, so the Marlins, Cardinals, Reds, Brewers, Padres made the playoffs. Yes, the Padres and the Marlins made the playoffs this year. And then the World Series matchup was the Rays and the Dodgers. None of us had the combination. I had the Dodgers. I had Yankees, Dodgers. Keith, you had Twins and Mets. Rodriguez, you had the Skanks and the Mets, and Joe had Indians and Mets. The Dodgers win the World Series. They win it over the Rays. The expected outcome for the last 10 years finally came to fruition this year. The expected from the experts out there. And then the MVP stuff, AL MVP, we all chose Mike Trout, and that just didn't happen this year. Jose Abreu from the White Sox, tremendous surprise there, the White Sox. We were all wrong on NL MVP. I had Mookie Betts. We had Christian Yelich, Cody Bellinger for Joe, Yelich for you two fine fellas. It was actually somebody who got got the COVID bug early on, and that's Freddie Freeman. So kudos to him. We hate him as a player, but kudos to him for coming back and having an MVP season after having COVID and praying not to die.
Actually, I hate him as a Brave. I don't hate him as a player. I think he's very respectable. Obviously,
why don't you go put a Braves hat on, Keith?
Well, I have a Mets jersey with Freeman on the back.
Good idea.
But he's not.
So you don't wait. So you don't like Pete Alonso then? You want to trade Pete Alonso for Freddie Freeman?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying he's not a chipper. Chipper, I hate. Freeman, I dislike. It's different levels.
All right. So the American League Cy Young.
His only saving grace is DeGrom. I had to say it. That's the only reason Freeman's still alive. Okay, because DeGrom likes him.
That's it. Garrett Cole, for most of us. Keith, you had Justin Verlander. It was Shane Bieber who actually wound up with the triple crown of pitching in all of baseball. It wasn't he didn't just win the triple crown from the American League in this. And yes, it's a shortened season, but that's still a hell of an accomplishment.
I'd like to shake the man that predicted that crap.
Yeah, shake the man. Walker Buehler was the guy I chose for the Cy Young. You guys had Jacob deGrom. I was way off there. Trevor Bauer wins it. Jake finishes third in that. American League Rookie of the Year, National League Rookie of the Year were Kyle Lewis and Devin Williams, respectively. And then Manager of the Year both came from the Sunshine State of Florida. The Rays, Kevin Cash wins it over in the American League, and Don Mattingly wins it for the Marlins down here in South Florida. If I'm not mistaken, I think Mattingly also won that award with the Dodgers, but I could be wrong there. All right, here we go. Meat and potatoes. Let's see how wrong we were on our own Metsies. I wasn't
wrong. They just didn't perform like I wanted. I just wasn't wrong. That's on them.
All right, so let me bring this up over here. All right, so we'll start off with we'll just run through a couple of these real quick, and then we'll chat real quick about them. Wilson Ramos. So he's one of the guys that it just wasn't happening for this year. We had him anywhere between the 240. Joe had him at 240, which was real close. He came in at 239. Actually, Joe is the closest on Wilson Ramos, bar none. Joe had him at 240, 5 home runs, 10 RBIs. Actuals were 239, 5 home runs, 15 RBIs. Kudos, producer Joe, on that one.
Very nice.
We weren't far off. I mean, we had him. The rest of us had him anywhere between 270 and 285, 5 to 7 home runs. The rest of us were very generous for him for RBIs. But and
he didn't live up to his.
Yeah, maybe
average.
A quick comment around Keith. Not only from an offensive perspective, but from a defensive perspective, would you even think about entertaining the thought of having Wilson Ramos come back, signing with the team?
No.
That's a definite no. I think there's so many other options. Offensively, obviously, you never want to lose a bat or downgrade a bat in your lineup, but I think upgrading our defense would negate losing a bat.
Helps the pitching staff too. I mean, it's twofold.
Like
right?
a Nito. Like, I'm not a Nito fan. His bat is most of the time, but his defense is good. His game calling is good. Ramos is not good in either of those two categories. So I think the team
it's rough watching him sometimes.
It is. So I think the team would be a definite upgrade with a more defensive catcher that knows how to call a game and has a little bit lesser of a bat. Obviously, Realmuto would be the best option with all three upgrading, but hey.
And so Rodriguez, real quick on this front. Let's say we have our full attention on. We're all distracted over here. All this pitching. Ooh, we need the pitching. That's what's going to win up. We got our offense is fine, and we turn around. Ramos is gone. Yadier Molina's gone. The kid from McCann is gone from the White Sox. Would you be? Is the potential of a 235? Few home runs, RBIs here and there, enough for you to say, okay, we're okay with a Nito type player, not necessarily Tomas Nito, but a Nito type.
Well, if I'm looking for a Nito type, I might as well grab Nito. He's right there. But here's that. I'm okay with a Nito type if everything else has been shorn up. Yeah. I'm okay with losing offense with in the catching situation, because look at Ramos. He's always been really good offensively. Last year he wasn't that good. Now he's getting older, bigger, fatter. His nickname is Buffalo. Jesus, for God's sake.
Buffalo.
He can't play defense. It's not going to get any better as he gets older. His hitting as a catcher, that's the first thing that goes with a catcher. If you could even hit in any way, the playing catcher just saps it out of you. So I mean, forget about a guy like that. We need a defensive guy. We need a guy that can call a good game, that can frame a good game, because we're showing up in all the other places offensively, and that's why I say that. That's why I can take a defensive catcher. Worst case scenario, we don't get anyone. Nido can play the whole year and start the whole year, because he's a pretty decent catcher, tools wise. He's just not a big hitter.
Not a big hitter.
And we've never really seen him a whole year. Maybe all of a sudden he can be decent enough to quantify himself as being on the team. But I'm okay with Nido.
Right, and it's weird to say it. Weird to say it, but because up until a few years ago, we were always looking for, we can't hit, we batting like this, we suck. Well, runners, and this year was run. This year was so funny in a non so funny way, right, guys? We were top 5 in hitting, but we couldn't score any runs because we were bottom 5 in runners in scoring position. So. That's what matters. And in a full season, that will even itself out, because you'll get the ebbs and flows. This just happened to happen at the very beginning when the microscope is on just that, just those stats. All right, let's move on to Pete Alonso. His actuals slightly off from, and we'll go by average here. So, on average, what we picked for him between the four of us was a 268 batting average, 18 home runs, 40 RBIs. and he hit 231. So we were off the mark on the average. 16 home runs, 35 RBIs was his actual. So we were in the neighborhood there. Disappointing, obviously, season, but again, it's the COVID season. All these guys were completely thrown out of routine, like to Keith's point earlier. So I'm not worried about Pete Alonso. I do hope that in this next season he gets off to a hot start just to get that momentum back. And
heavy swingers like that are going to have huge game slumps and huge game hot streaks. It is what it is. In a 160 game season, he would have hit probably close to 40 or over 40 home runs, and probably hit around 250, 260. Can't ask for much more from the big guy.
No, I think we talked about earlier or earlier in the year. 260 from Pete Alonso is fantastic. You hit me 50 home runs, 45.
Yeah, I think he
home
can
runs.
be better.
Oh, good.
I think he can actually even be better. The only reason I think Alonso was so bad this year was he was pressing because there was 60 games, and he was in those last year when he was taking those pitches that were out of the strike zone, which a lot of them were, and he was going down and reaching for them and just smacking them out there because he's so strong. If he gets any kind of wood on the ball's going to go. But he reached for a lot of pitches that were way out of the strike zone to hit. Yep. He did that all last year, and he was lucky enough to come up with contact on that. This past year, he wasn't able to do that. That's why he had a very low batting average. But I think if he brings that down a little bit and reaches a little bit less, with the type of offense that we have on this team, they have to pitch to him. It's just going to raise his average. Sure. And he's going to hit about 260, 270. And he might even he could even flirt around 280, 290 on when he gets a little bit better and he starts thinking that he has to save the whole team and the world in every at bat.
And he should know.
That's going to happen.
He should know now that he doesn't have to be that Superman. I mean, he is ultimately the Superman in the lineup.
He is.
When you look at 53 home runs, like who the hell does that nowadays? But he is the Superman. He just needs to know that he does not have to be Superman. And what I saw a lot of was that he kind of lost sight of the strike zone this year. He would countless times take a pitch right down the middle for a called strike three. That I saw that a lot in 2020. So he's still a young kid, and obviously there's no talks out there, even amongst the worst of the Mets fans, about getting rid of Pete Alonso. So,
anybody who steps into a rookie year and hits 53 home runs, and ridiculous. You say in his third year he's not considered the starter, you're an idiot. I'm just saying.
I mean, defensively, obviously Dom is the better defender, but in a world where there's no DH, Pete Alonso is playing first base.
And that's also where the war comes into effect. Because, Pete was a little clumsy within his 60 games. But in the previous year, in his rookie year, he showed vast improvement as the year progressed. So, let's see how spring training kicks off this year and what happens. Either way, Pete's going to probably play 100. Pete's going to play 150 plus games, whether it's DH or first base. Exactly. You're going to see Pete a whole lot. And not many naysayers out there, but if you're a naysayer, chill out, relax, slow down. He's going to be good.
Yeah, he's going to be. I think he's going to be just fine. He's going to get his game, like I said, you said DH, first base. He's all good there. He's fine. Next up was Michael Conforto, who just had a brilliant season and really got us thinking about the extension talks and whatnot. And if you watched our boy Sandy the other day, I wonder if he kept his same Twitter handle. It was at MetsGM. We gotta look that because he was pretty good on Twitter. But he talked about somebody asked a question about Michael Conforto and an extension. I think it was Gelbs, and he spoke. He said not a direct quote, but he said we'll reach out to them and see what their appetite is. Meaning, in my mind, that means we want to re-sign this guy. Let's make sure he's good on their end, and Keith, your favorite guy. And we talked about the respect factor from your favorite guy. obviously we're talking about Scott Boras here, his agent, and we talked the other day. We don't blame Scott Boras for, we're Mets fans. We're protective of our team, but we don't blame him for losing respect for the organization, based on our spending over the last 15 years or so. So Conforto, we said, and this is inflated a little bit. Rodriguez, you went a little high on the home run total with 22. 12 for me. Keith, you went with 10. Joe, 8. So Conforto's average 269 is what we said he was going to bat with 13 home runs, 30 RBIs. What he actually did was 322 and only get on base like every single game. Hit 9 home runs and 31 RBIs. So real quick, couple words about Conforto around the horn here. Keith.
Conforto is a staple of the team. Conforto is, I want to say quiet, because sometimes how he plays, it's just all about business and he does what he has to do. But it's not, his bat's not so quiet, his glove's not so quiet, his play's not quiet. Conforto is somebody I think we need to sign long term. And in 2019, 2020 not so much. 2019 he was amazing. And why I say not so much 2020, again, shortened COVID year. But in the crazy season of 2020, he was amazing. 420 on base percentage, 322 average, 10 home runs or whatever it was, or 9. Lock him up, Uncle Steve.
Yeah. Uncle Stevie. And
take that
Rodriguez.
Take that Rodriguez and fill it with Conforto.
With Conforto. Wow. Oh boy. So Rodriguez, we all had him, because he had other people had talked about, he was just like any other outfielder. You can dime a dozen, that kind of thing, and we all had him taking that step forward. More so you and Joe. You had him at 270. Joe had him getting to 280. Keith and I had him 263, 262, and he winds up hitting 322. What do you think? Because nobody predicted he was going to hit 322. What do you think he can attest that to?
That was the missing piece. Remember, I've said it all along. I've said it many times on the show. I've discussed it with you guys. I said the missing piece for Conforto was raising that average and not becoming a 260 everyday outfielder. He's over 300. He's a 322 average outfielder now who can hit 30 to 40 home runs. Plays very good corner outfield defense, because he does.
Brilliant, man. Remember that one catch up against the wall? Wow.
He's fantastic. The kid gets good jumps on it, good reads on it. So they should not move him over to left. They got to keep him in right, keep the guy over there. And now that was the missing piece. He was missing his average. And now that he's an average, high average guy, he can rake in the big bucks. He can become the team MVP. He can become the team captain, because you need a guy like that. You need a guy like Conforto. If he just stays hitting the way he's been hitting, I'm sorry, Keith, let me just say this real quick. If he just keeps his swing and keeps his approach the same way, because he's always been a really powerful opposite field type of hitter. Now he's actually implementing that a lot, looking to go opposite field, get the meat of the bat on the ball, and once the pitcher tries to pop him inside, then it's all over. It's going to hit a triple decker. So fantastic. Well done. Great year, Conforto. You deserve whatever money you get.
Does he lose the name?
Charlatan.
You know what? I would say yes, but I'm going to say no.
Boy.
I'm going to say no.
60 game season.
It was only 60 games, so I'm not changing his name yet.
Man, this guy can't catch a break.
If he does a full year, he's not the charlatan anymore. A full year of 300.
Keith, I was going to say one thing. But it's going to become a quick two things based off of something for Rodriguez said. No, because Rodriguez mentioned the spray hitting, and when I think of Conforto hitting all fields, it's kind of like that perfectly cooked steak. Unless you're a vegetarian, then I apologize. And you bite into it, and that
then you're wrong about everything.
Yeah, but when Conforto's spray hitting everywhere, it's like, it's so good. It's because that's where he's at. He's a spray hitter, and he can hit spray power. He can hit power to all fields. And what I was going to originally say was he's kind of like our discounted jerk ass hair flipper from Philadelphia.
With better stats.
with better stats, right? So, but I mentioned something before. He's kind of a quiet, amazing player. The reason why he's quiet is because his personality is all about business, where the hair flipper is kind of like flamboyant, and then he's flamboyant again. Where Conforto is just, he's all about business. And that may, I'm hoping, get us a discount on a long-term deal. Uncle Steve. Hold on.
I guess we don't have to worry about necessarily having to get a discount to sign him anymore. So that's one concern.
Well, yes and no, right? I don't want a, because that deal the hair flipper.
You're so
got
cheap
was,
with
but
not
that
your
deal
money.
the hair flipper got was ridiculous. And then he comes out in the press conference and talks about how he wants to parade for the Nationals, and he did it.
So here's the thing I love about Conforto is that he's never ever complained about a thing. He got demoted year 2. It's easy to forget that. He got demoted because, and he started off very well that year, and then in comes Rodriguez's favorite pitcher, Madison Bumgarner, and he, Terry started him against him, and it just did not work out. He struck out 3 or 4 times that day, and it was from there.
And he's a spray hitter.
But he came back. But then he came back, and he's just been consistent. There's some front-loaded seasons, some back-loaded seasons, but he's maintained consistency, and he's not that guy who you're in a slump and you get dropped to 7th in the order, kind of like Alonso. You're not going to hear a peep out of him. He's going to do what he needs to do, and somebody, having Conforto and Alonso, in the potential leadership situations within the organization, those being the guys that get dropped in the lineup due to struggling, it shows that it can happen to anybody. So
Dominic Smith is a leader. J.D. Davis is a leader.
Ever since J.D.
Brandon
Davis, ever since
Nimmo.
like the wrestling type promo that he cut, remember that? He did the Ric Flair. Woo!
I mean, there's a lot of young, talented,
which is
leadership
Rodriguez
quality
to your
players.
Yeah, to your point, that's rare. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Mets fan. It's a rare commodity in any sport where you get these young leaders out there
with talent.
And I know that we're coming up on time here, so let's run through a few more of the everyday players, and we'll save the pitching and the bullpen for next week.
Sure.
Teaser.
Robbie Cano. We won't spend a lot of time on him.
Why would we even talk about him again?
We had him at for the average of the 4 of us, 272, 5 and 17. He had 316, 9 and 24 due to steroids. Jeff McNeil. Quietly was having a bad season. To start off, he was struggling at the plate. He had that nagging injury. He had a rib situation.
It wasn't quiet for me.
I know. Because it was magnified though. So if he starts off that way in a 162 game season, you're like, okay, ebbs and flows. He's gonna turn it on. So we had him anywhere between 298 for Keith, 303 for myself, 345 Rodriguez, 300 for Joe. He wound up at 311. Home runs were in between the high range, and he was just not. He did not exude the power that he had the year before. So he wound up with 311, 4 home runs, 23 RBIs, and which again in a full season. It's just not going to translate to multiply it out by the 162 games because that's just not how baseball works. That's why it's the intelligent game, if you will.
I'm glad you didn't use ebbs and flows again because I was going to use it too much. I was going to virtually punch you, but thanks. I feel like I'm at work.
There was Cano. Now this is the guy that I want to talk about. Speaking of ebbs, no flows. Ahmed Rosario, we all counted on somewhere between 270 and 304. So taking that next step forward, winds up, on average, we had him at 284, 4 home runs, 14 RBIs, a decent year. Fortunately, his average was 30 points beneath that. The power and the RBIs were right around the same. But if two areas that he took the step back, contact and his defense. And that's just not that's just him being inconsistent, right? Rodriguez. We talk about this year before. He had a shitstorm of a season in the first half in the field, just and it wasn't like a small, a base runner that got erased on a double play. It was like bases loaded. Here comes a grounder. Oh, underneath his gloves, 3-run score. Mets lose.
And if you remember, I was the one I was very vocal about just being pissed about his defense.
I was so annoyed. I remember this one day I was mowing the lawn and I was listening to the game, and he made an error. It was in Milwaukee.
Either one of us.
It was Milwaukee, and I remember it, and it was I had to stop mowing the lawn because I was so freaking pissed off.
Rodriguez jump in, I will just say, Rodriguez defended him and said he will come around, and he's young, and he did, and he pulled through. He did.
Now this is the thing with us. Rodriguez is the guy that tries most of the time is successful in staying calm, even keeled. There are times where he'll go off. He'll go off. He'll get so pissed, and it might not be here. It's definitely in our private chat. So it takes a lot, but I think Keith and I, we also think that he was going to turn the corner. We were just like really annoyed at that situation,
pissed off. Yeah.
But Rodriguez, for the most part, I'd say 85% of the time is the guy who is going to keep us even keeled. Ebbs and flows of the season and how.
Wow. Like, hold on. Bam, bam. There you go. Did you feel that?
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks.
So Rodriguez,
I love you.
I love you too, buddy. So Rodriguez, I don't think any of us wants to say, okay, Rosario needs to sit in favor of Jimenez this year. No, if it's anything, it's them both playing, right? If we are to give up on Rosario, it is for somebody like Lindor as we get him on an extension. What do you think? So let's just say Rosario's here next year.
And he plays the full
year. How does mentally, as a baseball player, mentally, how do you get past? Not that you know about this shortened season and stuff like that, but how do you get past some of these struggles when you're incrementally going up, like Keith said before, and then you drop off just a little bit and actually lose your job for a little bit? Well,
this is where it becomes a test of will. See what kind of person you really are. Because I follow him and I see the posts that he puts out there, and they all kind of say that he's a very moral young man that is always into prayer and into all positive steps and all that stuff, according to his Twitter and all that nonsense. But here's
sorry,
what happened?
Keith made me laugh.
Tell me, what's the joke?
No, you're saying prayer.
You said prayer. Just think back to Farachi and I arguments. Go, Rodriguez. I'm sorry.
Don't fight about prayer.
We never fight. I love Farachi. It's friendly. It's friendly, aggravated banter.
Little church boys. Okay. Yeah, I think he's got it's a prove them wrong type of mentality for him this year. That's kind of what an athlete's going to take a few different routes. He's going to sulk. He's going to be a complainer and want to get off the team because they disrespected me and I don't want to be around them anymore. Or he's going to say, I'm going to prove to them that I'm the best shortstop here. I'm going to make Jimenez look bad. I got this job. This is my job. This is how I'm going to go forward with it. Now, those are the two ways he can go. So if he's here, I'm assuming he's the starting shortstop, and Jimenez will be the second baseman. McNeil could be in left. I mean, there's so many options. Let's not even talk about that. But I would not give the starting shortstop job to Jimenez right now. I still think there's some more stuff left in Rosario. I think he can be a 280, 285 hitter with 15 or 20 home runs. If all he has to do is shorten that little bat, that stroke again. That he has a long bat for a guy who's not supposed to be a power guy. At the end of the day, though, he's a pretty big kid, so he can be a power guy. but he really just has to shorten that swing a little bit and be more of a contact guy because the power's gonna play. It's gonna come through. It's gonna blow out. So if I don't trade him, I would trade him, but I wouldn't say I'm giving up on him. I'm trading him for a better player.
Well, yeah,
I'm trading a young good player for a more established young excellent player, Lindor. I don't look at it as giving up on Rosario. Right. You know, that's how I see it.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that the only way we want to see Rosario not playing every day for the Mets next year is if it's in a trade for Lindor. You know, you trade up for a superstar. So, all right. So let's end there because I don't want to end on who we got coming up next. So we are conscious of what is happening in about 10 minutes on SNY, and I don't know if it's going to be streamed on Facebook. I hope it is. But Uncle Steve is going to be in an interview with Steve Gelbsy. He of the first question in every press conference because he's that important. Gelbsy interviews Steve Cohen in about 10 minutes. So we'll be conscious of that and not run over.
Who's a good Uncle Stevie?
Nope. I don't think he likes that. Don't do that.
That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Give me some free agents, Papa.
He's going to ban us from City. He's going to ban us from City Field.
Damn straight.
Here. All right. So that was a fun little recap of 2020. We'll do it again. We'll continue next week. We have a few more guys to go through.
Oh, we are not done.
No, not by a long shot.
Not by a long shot. Tune in next week.
It's gonna be an exciting off season, man. We're gonna be on a few more times for sure.
Pumpkin pie in the oven, Ma. That's fantastic. That sounds great. Is that for tomorrow? It's gonna be great. All right, so we did the run through. Next week we'll talk a little bit more about our predictions versus our reality, as Keith is trying to pick Uncle Steve's nose. On the shirt. Well, there's bound to be more Mets news, and immediately following what Uncle Steve has to say, we'll pop some comments in the Facebook group, wherever that you're watching right now. I don't expect a whole lot of additional information other than what we've already heard. Other than what we've look at the little guys. Other than what we've already heard in his press conferences, where he's talking to fans and whatnot. But next week we'll touch upon the rest of the predictions, where we went wrong, where we went right. We'll also talk about
he's coming on with Trevor Bauer on the right side, Jake Realmuto on the left, and
I'm with you, Rod.
Just signed my battery for the next year.
I'm with
DeGrom in the back.
I'm expecting to come out and be like, this is who our GM is. We got Bauer, we got Realmuto, and we're not done, bitches. And what? Let's talk.
Make me lose my mind. Don't make me do it. All right.
I thought it was already gone.
Oh, but I'm...
He's going to say we traded for Realmuto, signed Bauer, and we got...
Why would we trade for Realmuto?
Traded for Arenado, signed Bauer and Realmuto.
It's not a good fit.
That's
not a good
absurd
fit
right there. We'll get into it. We'll get fit this. So next week we'll talk the remainder of our predictions. We'll talk some of the free agents and the trades out there, whether we approve or we do not approve. We'll also talk about, in a bit of a tease, how wrong I am. Yes, I am often wrong. We'll talk about the potential for a very unique Bobby Bonilla day as we now have Uncle Steve at the helm. And we'll talk about the return of Old Timers Day. What was more exciting than that?
Keith Hernandez. He says he'll play. He said he'll play.
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to come out alive from there.
He said it. What is he doing?
Oh, man. He's cutting up Brody. Man,
why would you do
we'll
that?
Also we'll get into a little Brody stuff next week too, but we've overstayed our welcome here. In about 5 minutes, the big man will have a discussion with Steve Gelbs. Closing thoughts, Keith, and if you want to throw a Fuakata in there, I'd be more than happy to listen to it.
I really have no Fuakatas right now. I am really happy with what's going on and excited about what the future is. There are so many open possibilities. Let's go Mets. Obviously, as a lot of people are claiming, nothing has happened yet. But don't get caught up in what hasn't happened. Get caught up in what the possibilities are, and get caught up in the change of the atmosphere in the Mets culture. Let's go Mets. We're doing this next year.
Boom! We're doing it. Rodriguez.
Yeah, man. It's all about positivity and love, man. It's all about the love. We're all good now.
We're all good
now. We're gonna stomp on people. We're gonna step on their necks. We're gonna buy everybody out there. We're gonna be rambunctious. We're gonna be skankalicious. I don't know. We're gonna be a lot of things. I just don't even know.
Speaking of stomp,
we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Hey, don't steal my thunder, Keith Laris.
Oh,
speaking of stomp
funk.
people,
I thought you said funk.
In about 50 minutes, we're going to go live with We Stomped You Out, the New York Giants show. We'll talk about all that goodness that coming off a bye week in which we didn't have to watch the team lose. So we'll get to that at 7:45 on the We Stomped You Out show. It's early. Just because Morton signed. Morton is a guy that people would like to have back in rotation. He signed with the Braves. All good. That's fine. So it's early, though. It's November. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Things don't happen yet. Thanksgiving, everybody's trying to enjoy their weekend.
Winter meetings. The winter meetings are going to be crazy.
Although, Rodriguez, in your scenario where Cohen comes on, he's got Bauer and Realmuto and the other Cy Young. Oh, by the way, double Cy Young Award winner behind him.
Baby.
That would excite me. But realistically speaking, we need to wait for the winter meetings. We need to wait for things to unfold, markets to develop for certain players. So easy, patient. Patience is a virtue. We'll get the guys that we need to get.
Take it easy, Keith. Take it easy.
The whole aura of this team has changed immediately following the opening press conference. There were guys reaching out to the Mets to say, "Hey, you interested?
Sign me.
Take it easy. All good. We'll get there." And of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't say Happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. We all do have, as Mama Faraj says down there, we all do have a lot to be thankful for. This time of year. So, and of course, we are very thankful for Mr. Steve Cohen. So, for producer Joe, behind the scenes, we appreciate you giving us our cues, popping up those banners. Joe. The best producer in the business. For my buddy Keith, for my buddy Rodriguez, for my buddy Mr. Cohen back there, I am Steve, and we will talk to you next week.
And if you're a Giants fan, tune in. We'll be there soon, like Steve said. Boom.